Oscar favorites. We've covered a lot. And guess what? Today promises to be even more exciting, even more entertaining. We're going to have lots more learning and perhaps a surprise or two along the way for you. Now, let's talk about the power of connection. In the ever-evolving landscape of animation and VFX, our community's strength lies in collaboration and sharing. So take a moment, ladies and gentlemen, to connect with your fellow enthusiasts, for industry experts, and of course, the brilliant minds who are right here in the scene with you. And in case you are capturing any of it, just to remind each and every one of you, everything that's being showcased right here is proprietary material. We are going to be announcing about all the videos or the pictures that you cannot be posting on social media, but that said, you can talk about what is happening right here in Bengaluru GAFX 2024. And if ever you're posting anything at all on your social media, remember to use the hashtag GAFX 2024. And don't forget to tag me also, okay? So I will also share, reshare, retweet, do all of that along with you. But for today, are you all ready for day 3 of GAFX 2024? Yes? If you're ready, come on, let's have a huge round of applause for us to, of course, kickstart. Now, let me talk about how some creations stand out. All right. So some of these creations stand out not just for their visual brilliance, but for the profound narratives that they weave. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we have the privilege of witnessing just such a creation. A film that dwells into the teachings and philosophy of Sri Aurobindo, inviting us into the world of enlightenment and transformation. What a beautiful way for us to start off the grand finale of Bengaluru GAFX 2024. The person or the team that I'm going to be inviting right here on stage is a national award-winning team. I have absolutely no words right now to talk about our mentor. He's an inspiration to millions. And let me tell you, he's hands down India's best animation filmmaker. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as I would like to first invite on stage our national award-winning animation film director, Suresh Eriyat, our founder from Studio Eeksaurus, everybody. A bigger round of applause for him, ladies and gentlemen. And joining him on stage is our executive producer for Studio Eeksaurus, Nilima Eriyat, everyone. Come on. Sir, ma'am, thank you so much. It's an honor to share the stage with the two of you. But before we begin and talk about Sri Aurobindo and the beautiful, beautiful movie that you have in store for us, just a few words for all these young and brilliant minds that we have right here in this hall. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pallavi. Thank you, GAFX. It's wonderful to be back here and to sit and talk to you all once again. COVID was the time when we took a break. It's also really, really amazing to share this passion project of ours, which has taken us 2 years to complete. It's a 28-minute film. Took 2 years, all hand-painted animation. It's a privilege to share with Bengaluru for the first time on such an amazing venue of Seekers, where we have some amazing system that gives justice to the film and the work that we have put behind this film. I hope you all enjoyed thoroughly, and we both are here to speak about the making a little bit, whatever time left after that. We have a few clips to share with you after that, after the screening. So without much ado, let's begin the screening.
Let's screen, and once the film is over, please feel free to talk to us here, and if time doesn't permit, maybe outside. We are here to answer all your questions. Cheers.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
August 15th is my own birthday, and it is naturally gratifying to me that it should assume its vast significance. Indeed, on this day, I can watch almost all the world movements which I hope to see fulfilled in my lifetime. From a very young age, I had a feeling of great upheaval which was coming to the world. And that I was destined to play a part in it.
Young Aurobindo grew up in England. His father wanted him to imbibe European culture. He immersed himself in European literature and history at St. Paul's and Cambridge. He also mastered diverse European languages. Inspired by the French Revolution and Irish freedom movement, a strong desire to reform human society was brewing in him. Also, he began receiving letters with painful accounts of British aggression over Indians from his father, a man who once admired everything English. He could no longer be a mute spectator while his motherland was suffering. When it was time for him to return to India, Sri Aurobindo had already made a firm resolve to liberate his country.
What we see is a giant Shakti who, awakening into a new world, a new and alien environment, finds herself shackled in all her limbs by a multitude of gross or minute bonds. Bonds self-woven by her past. Bonds recently imposed from outside, and is struggling to be free from them, to arise and proclaim herself. We hear on every side a sound of that slow fraying of bonds, here and there, a sharp tearing and snapping. But freedom of movement has not yet been attained. The eyes are not yet clear. The bud of the soul has only partly opened. The Titanness has not yet arisen.
When Sri Aurobindo set foot on his motherland, after a gap of 14 years, a vast calm descended upon him. It was a profound spiritual experience which stayed with him for long months afterwards.
O Mother, I bow to thee.
Something within him began to bloom, but he had to reacquaint himself with his country first. He taught himself Sanskrit and other Indian languages, dived deep into the scriptures, translated great epics and legends. He assimilated the essence of India. He began practice of yoga to acquire its power to liberate his country. While in Baroda, he worked closely with like-minded leaders. He also secretly organized revolutionary movements in Bengal and other provinces by inspiring the youth to fight for freedom. The partition of Bengal was a pivotal point in Sri Aurobindo's life. He took a public stance against the British and joined the revolt. His fiery articles for the English weekly Bande Mataram ignited a spark within the youth, and the cry for India's freedom grew louder all over the country.
My first dream was a revolutionary movement which would create a free and united India. We of the new school would not pitch our ideal 1 inch lower than absolute Swaraj. To strive for anything less than Swaraj would be to insult the greatness of our past and magnificent possibilities of our future. Swadeshi is the method, the way, the road by which the nation advances. Boycott is only the other side of Swadeshi. National education is the training of the mind and heart of the younger generation. There are times in a nation's history when Providence places before it one work, one aim, to which everything else, however high and noble in itself, has to be sacrificed. Such a time has now arrived for our motherland, when nothing is dearer than her service, when everything else is to be directed to that end. If you will study, study for her sake. Train yourselves body and mind and soul for her service.
Sri Aurobindo thus laid the foundation for India's complete freedom, Purna Swaraj. In the midst of growing political unrest, he felt the need for spiritual inspiration. So he made his way to a yogi, Vishnu Bhaskar Lele.
It was my great debt to Lele that he showed me this. Sit in meditation, he said, but do not think. Look only at your mind. You will see thoughts coming into it. Before they can enter, throw them away from you till your mind is capable of entire silence. I had never heard before of thoughts coming visibly into the mind from outside. I simply sat down and did it. In a moment, my mind became silent as a windless air on a high mountain summit. And then I saw a thought. And then another thought coming in a concrete way from outside. I flung them away before they could enter and take hold of my brain. And in 3 days, I was free. The mental being in me became a free intelligence. A universal mind. A receiver of knowledge from all the 100 realms of being, and free too to choose what it willed in this vast sight empire and thought empire.
In a very short time, Sri Aurobindo arrived at the experience of nirvana. In that state, he resumed writing inspiring articles and giving fiery speeches. He was at the epicenter of the new wave of the freedom movement, which was sweeping throughout India. The fight for freedom grew more intense and radical. The unrest brought chaos. Chaos gave way to violence, and the violence came with consequences. Sri Aurobindo was eventually arrested.
When I was arrested and hurried to Alipur jail, I was shaken in faith for a while. For I could not look into the heart of God's intention. Therefore I faltered for a moment and cried out in my heart to Him, "What is this that has happened to me?" I believed that I had a mission to work for the people of my country. And until then, I should have Thy protection. Why then am I here and on such a charge? A day passed, and a second day, and a third. And then a voice came to me from within. Wait and see. The voice of God within me spoke again. The bonds you had not strength to break, I have broken for you. I have another thing for you to do, and it is for that I've brought you here, to train you for my work. Then he placed the Gita in my hands. His strength entered into me, and I was able to do the sadhana of the Gita. I have seen the beauty of immortal eyes and heard the passion of the lover's flute, and known a deathless ecstasy's surprise, and sorrow in my heart is forever mute.
Sri Aurobindo experienced divinity in all things. With it, a whole new range of spiritual experiences began to unfold. Later, he heard a guiding voice. It was of Swami Vivekananda.
He didn't say supermind. Supermind is my own word. He just said to me, this is this, this is that, and so on. That was how he proceeded, by pointing and indicating. He visited me for 15 days in Alipur jail. And until I could grasp the whole thing, he went on teaching me and impressed upon my mind the working of the higher consciousness, which leads towards the supermind.
The emergence of this new consciousness was the beginning of transformation within Sri Aurobindo. He became profoundly free even before he was acquitted from the jail. From this point, he embraced a novel way of action in the world.
When I came out of jail, I listened for that cry of Bande Mataram. But there was instead a silence. A hush had fallen over the country, and men seemed bewildered. No man seemed to know which way to move. And from all sides came the question, what shall we do next? What is there that we can do? But I have not been disheartened by that silence, because I have been made familiar with it in my prison.
Sri Aurobindo was unfazed by the complacency of the people. He knew exactly how to motivate them into action with his words and clarity of thought.
Who had said thou art weak in thy lands? When the swords flash out in twice 70 million hands, and 70 million voices roar thy dreadful name from shore to shore? With many strengths who art mighty and stored, to thee I call, Mother and Lord, Bande Mataram. Bande Mataram.
For him, the freedom of India was already a certainty. His focus was shifting towards India's role in the spiritual transformation of the world.
The time has come when India can no longer keep her light to herself, but must pour it out upon the world. Yoga must be revealed to mankind, because without it, mankind cannot take the next step in human evolution.
So, he withdrew from active politics. He could foresee mankind heading towards an evolutionary crisis, and India had the key to the spiritual evolution of mankind.
With wind and the weather beating around me, up to the hill and the moorland I go. Who will come with me? Who will climb with me, wade through the brook, and tramp through the snow?
He worked towards bringing the light of the supermind to erase the darkest forces lurking within the human race. A work that he did in solitude. He was discovering a new path, synthesizing all the yogic traditions of India and going beyond. He called it the integral yoga, a yoga of evolutionary transformation of human nature. Only a few understood and followed his path. But soon he found his equal and spiritual collaborator in his work, Mira Alfasa, whom he later called Mother. With her arrival, his ashram took birth in Pondicherry and grew into a pioneering laboratory for the evolution of consciousness.
He who I am was with me still. All veils are breaking now. I have heard his voice and borne his will on my vast, untroubled brow. But I dare not rest till my task is done and wrought the eternal will. A little more and the new life's doors shall be carved in silver light with its aureate roof and mosaic floors in a great world bare and bright. I shall leave my dreams in their Augean air. For in a raiment of gold and blue they shall move on the earth, embodied and fair, the living truth of you. I saw them cross the twilight of an age. The sun-eyed children of a marvelous dawn. The great creators with wide brows of calm. The massive barrier breakers of the world. And wrestlers with destiny in our lists of will. The laborers in the quarries of the gods. And the messengers of the incommunicable. The architects of immortality.
Our call is to young India. It is the young who must be the builders of the new world. They must focus on that vision for the future, dedicate themselves in the present, referring to the learnings from the past.
We do not belong to the past dawns. But to the noons of the future.
Thank you so much. So touched. Thank you. Yeah. So, yeah, it's always overwhelming to watch this film. The process that we went through was also equally um,
Overwhelming.
overwhelming. Yeah. So, if there are any questions, immediate questions, we can take them and we can show you some clips from the making of it. So, however you would like, maybe if you have some immediate questions. The software that we used, we used primarily TV Paint. TV Paint, Toon Boom can't give this result. As simple as that. It's a painted film, so it had to be treated like it's almost like Photoshop frames digitally painted. They are in motion. So every single frame is painted. Every single part of it is painted, and those brushes were only available in TV Paint. And TV Paint is not a production-friendly, pipeline-friendly software. So everybody has to learn it and internalize the style. So all the people who painted this were all animators who are also filmmakers. So it's a very lean team that we worked with. We in fact, we tried to outsource it to international studios as well, but they all gave up because the time was pretty less for the painting part. We had totally around.
Also, I think
20
they felt challenged. They felt it was too complicated a style to imbibe and sort of take it to the other artists in their studio for them also to imbibe and turn it around so quickly. We had very little time. So then we realized that outsourcing this was not going to work, and we came back, and this was produced completely in-house with the support of 2 or 3 studios in India.
And that too, people had to, even some of the studios which were supposed to do a lot more work, couldn't actually eventually do it because it was too tough and demanding for them. So eventually the people who animated within our studio, they had to take up the painting part also. So this painting style is derived from certain artists that Sri Aurobindo used to like Nandalal Bose, Avanindranath Tagore, So we had to kind of imbibe a style which had it was not very hard-edged. It had to be soft. It's almost like the spirituality being translated, manifested in the visual form. So we had to find a very subtle sort of a style, which had to be along the lines of these Bengal school of painting styles. So that's how we went with that.
No,
We had. That's what I'll be showing you. We had a trailer which was very much like a graphic novel, comic book sort of a style. But from the client side also, they were not able to take it that we are making a character out of Sri Aurobindo. So there were certain challenges. Yeah, you're
All right, we have a question here. Okay, I think we can. Could you please switch the mics on? Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
So you have very beautiful, very distinguished style throughout the entire movie, but
Thank you.
and all of it is very hand painted and obviously it's just amazing craftsmanship. How did you manage to maintain such a consistent style throughout, with so many different painters throughout the movie?
That really was the most trickiest of the situation, where every artist had to work on different animator scenes. So eventually they were all animators. They were not painting artists who did the work. So it's not background artists who did the painting. So they actually had to know the volume and the movement and light and shadow movement along with that. So it was pretty tricky. But the people who worked on the project, maybe like 10, 12 of them, they were the ones who got the style perfectly after a couple of months of practice. And then they were able to kind of come up to a speed where they could paint around 2 seconds or 3 seconds a day. That's, yeah.
Yeah, which was a lot. And
Which was a lot.
considering, I mean, when you see, you will notice that it's not just human figures. There's animation in the camera moves. There is the light is animating. So it's literally like painting every element and animating it as you go along. It's not like in a typical production pipeline where once the cleanups are done and then they're transferred to the colorists who fill colors. It wasn't like that. So at one point we had to divide the film in a way where a couple of seconds were given to every animator to complete from the beginning till the end, and then stitched up
Just
together.
a small correction. It's not 2 to 3 seconds. It's 12 to 13 frames in a day.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, so that's all one could do. And so it was a waiting game. Every day they would think that you would be able to achieve a little more, but by the end of the day, you just can't.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Suresh, Anil here.
Yeah,
Suresh.
I have 3 questions. I can see some technical challenges in terms of the cinematography, the 360-degree camera and all those things. Have you used any 3D references and animatics or something to get that? Because smooth transition perfection, the timing perfection is also there. Number 2, in terms of the lighting, when you spoke about that illumination part of it,
right.
So is it you have done it in the post-production or it's in the painting
It's
only?
in the
there?
painting.
It's in the
It's all
painting.
lighting is all in the painting.
So there is no DI or nothing?
No,
It's
the
like
camera movement itself is in the drawing.
in the drawing only.
There is no 3D referencing.
Okay.
The 3D referencing was done for a shot where when he is walking through, there is no 3D camera at all.
Amazing. It's like unbelievable. And the transition, the third part is the transition from every scene, the smooth from the start to end. You have the same timing, consistency maintained and the transition. It's amazing.
So we have a wonderful team of animators who are also, like I said, they double up as filmmakers.
Correct.
They are all animation filmmakers who are working on the film.
Correct.
So they could actually visualize the camera
Correct.
and draw it properly. So every camera movement is constructed. If you look at the physics, there are errors.
Correct.
So, but you don't feel it because you're taking your audience to a different realm of imagination. So in that space, it is working pretty well.
I think this film
Suresh?
was more about translating the philosophy
Yes.
convincingly and inspiring young people to take action. And especially, I think for me, the most special aspect of this film is not the way it looks, not that it's wonderfully crafted, but the fact that it has come together with the spirit of maybe 15 dynamic young people, and they range from like an age group of 22 to 28, and for them to first understand, Sri Aurobindo's teachings, where we were given like copious amounts of literature. Like we got some 200 books from the society. There was no script. We sat for many months. Suresh and team rewrote drafts, overdrafts, got them approved by the society. And there's these young people who actually are not interested in stuff like this. Like immersing themselves into this really deep subject, if I can call it, and understanding, trying to figure the essence so that they can bring it out effectively in the film. For me, that was very special.
But
and they
honestly tell you, I've seen this around 5-6 times today also.
Yeah.
I was trying to concentrate on the dialogue, but I keep forgetting I'll go into the visuals and the music. I'm not able to follow the dialogues, to be very honest. Like the visuals are so powerful, so I'm engrossed into it actually.
Which is also great, but the thing is, a lot of those lines are Sri Aurobindo's lines from a lot of his poetry, which again the society was very keen that we, incorporate somehow into the film.
Yeah, Nilima, can I have a question here because
Sure.
you finished? So the heroes of the film are the art, the style, but the voicing and the mixing as well as the music.
Right.
They are layering and they're magnifying it.
Of course.
Without the music and the voice, would it be as good? Like with Victor and Dipti.
I mean, every film is incomplete without sound, music, voicing, if it is there.
And Rasul's mixing engineering.
Of course, of course.
So I think, yeah, the animation film's lives, almost 50% or more, is given by the soundscape. Without that, it cannot exist. So the film would not have worked at all without the sound. So there is no question.
So it was a labor of love even for Victor, for Dipti, as well as for Rasul.
Yeah.
It turned out to be that.
Yes. So one of the maybe I'll show you one clip of the previous style, and I'll just conclude. I think we are also running out of time. Maybe this one clip.
Yes, please.
We felt that the whole film at that point would be created in such a style, which is an extension of a, I won't say comic, but like almost like a graphic novel, sort of an illustration. Would suit the entire premise better. Following the trailer, even though it had good sort of a response from people, the trailer was responsible for generating the funds that it required to create this. It really worked in that sense, but got like really sharp criticism about the way Sri Aurobindo as a character looked in the film, how his eyes were not like the real Sri Aurobindo's eyes.
I was just thinking there was also another comment from the community here that are we cartoonizing Sri Aurobindo?
Yeah, so that is where it departed from. So that was the previous style, which actually generated the funds that it required. But people within the society were not able to accept him as a character like that. They all had a different vision of him. At one point, they asked me to make the film without him at all. At that point in time, I said, then I am not doing the film. Because we are not that big magicians to have a film on a person without showing the person. So then they kind of compromised and said that we will work on the character in a very subtle form, where you don't really see him in a very defined way. Then we had to also look at the art style that would suit this particular representation, and that's how we went with more with the Bengal School of Art and stayed true to that. So we could kind of get him in that very subtle sort of.
And now that you saw that little clip, the trailer, which generated the funds for the eventual longer film, I mean, if you imagine that style in this long narrative, I don't think it would have been that effective, because it needed like that poetic quality. It needed a softer rendition. Yeah. It needed to bring out the philosophy. It could not be. It would have been too documentary-like had we followed that particular style. So then we realized that and we abandoned that, and I think it worked well for everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So that's about it. Thank you, everyone. If you have more questions, we can definitely take it outside, wherever. Yeah.
Sir,
Thank
I'm
you.
sure
Thank you so
they
much.
all have more questions. 45 minutes, 60 minutes. I don't think even 24 hours would be enough to spend time with the two of you. So, ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause. If I could request both of you to please join us at the center of the stage. And if I could request Mr. Chand to join us on stage and present a memento, a token of gratitude to Suresh sir and to Nilima ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, a huge round of applause, please, for our national award-winning animation team. Thank you once again, Suresh sir and Nilima ma'am, for being here. Your presence, it's an honor to be here with you. Thank you. Moving on from the film.